This episode of Hak5 is brought to you by Domain.com.
Hello, welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen.
I'm Shannon Morse.
It's your weekly dose of techno-lust.
It is.
We missed you, Shmoocon.
I missed you guys too.
It was freezing there.
I
but
heard.
It was also Shmook.
Did you get snowed in?
No, nor did I meet Snowden. I don't think he's going to Hackathon.
I'm so glad you got
these
that.
Days. Team Edward!
Did you really just say Team Edward?
Isn't that what they were all talking about when people are
Like-
all like Team Edward? That they're saying like they're for Snowden? No?
Yeah.
Yeah? What?
Yep.
I heard he was a vampire.
That's why you never
Hello
see
and
him.
welcome to Hak5. My name is Darren Kitchen. This is supposedly a tech show, and Shannon has found the Whiffies.
Aliens.
What are those?
Oh, you want to hear it?
Yeah, sure.
It's aliens. See, it's freaking aliens. I'm telling you. They're trying to speak to us. Look. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh, see, now you're at 48. I don't even know where you went.
I don't know.
She was at 2.4 gigahertz a moment before. Now she's
This is so
somewhere
cool.
far off. She found a $20 dongle, and now it's bringing her so much fun. As if that means something. Anyway, we'll get into that a little later. Shannon's starting a series on software-defined radio. I've got more awesome stuff from Shmoocon. We have some cool projects in the works involving birdhouses and radio frequencies. It works when you polarize vertically.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, with all of that, we should probably just go ahead and get into the show.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Today I'm going to be taking a look at SDR, and I'm going to be having a lot of fun. This is so exciting. Basically, SDR is a software-defined radio, and I'm also going to be checking out a Windows application that will let you receive data with a super simple setup. So first off, what is SDR? It's a software-defined radio, which is basically a radio communication system that takes what you'd usually find in hardware and implements it into a software application on a PC, so you don't have to pay for any kind of crazy expensive setup. So the PC has to be equipped with a sound card or an analog to digital converter, and then some kind of RF front end. The signal processing is done via the processor, and airwaves are converted from analog into digital on the PC. So the SDR dongle, for example, this little guy, is my RF front end that is going to be converting the airwaves for my software to make sense of. So this can be used as an AM/FM radio. You can check out police scanners, air traffic control. You can listen to that kind of stuff. You can even listen to like what's going on out on the water. If you live near a bay or something, you can listen to what buoys are transmitting. All sorts of data is flowing, and you can listen to all of it. It's really exciting. It's really cool. I even think I picked up some aliens when I was checking it out earlier, but who knows. So you're basically packet sniffing with radio. It's kind of a way to look at it. And you don't need any kind of license because it doesn't transmit. So in this case, I'm only receiving data. That's it. So ta-da! Now you have your own little SDR setup with less than 20 bucks instead of some crazy hardware product that can only do AM and FM. So let's go ahead and set this up on Windows. I'm just using one program to start it off for today so I can kind of learn and get the gist of what I'm doing with SDR. So I'm using a program called SDR Sharp. That's SDR pound if you're Googling it. So first off, you want to download this very automated installation from rtlsdr.org/software windows. I'll put that in the show notes below. And then you just open the program. So if you take a look at my computer over here, it's going to look well, kind of weird, to be honest. At the top, you're going to see a whole bunch of blue lines, and once we get started, all these waves are going to be transmitting different frequencies, and we'll be able to pass between them and kind of figure out what's going on in each of them. Sometimes you can hear people talking. It's hilarious. Down at the bottom, you can see what kind of data is transmitting. So down here, you can see a whole bunch of lines of data. It kind of looks like music, right? Well, that's because it is. Sometimes you'll see just brief little spurts of dark red data going on down here, and usually that is somebody talking, for example. Or if you just see nothing but blue or nothing but yellow, that means nothing's going on. So it's a completely blank frequency. Nothing's going on those. And then over on the side, this is where you get all your settings. So first off, at the top, you have radio, and that's going to be where you choose what kind of frequency you want to listen on. So wide FM is over here. We have AM, CW, raw frequency, that's fine. And then NFM, so that's where you get your like weather stations, people that are listening in if they're, on a boat and they need to find out what the waves are like in Bodega Bay or something like that. That's where they would listen in on that. Most of the other information down here you want to keep just as it is. You don't want to mess with too much or you'll start screwing up everything. If you go down a little bit to audio, you'll see AF gain. So this is going to help you gain a little bit on your frequency and listen a little bit better. The static will get a little bit louder, but also will the voices. And then you can also go up here to configure things. So let me close this real quick and I'll show you where my dongle shows up. So my SDR dongle, once I have installed everything correctly, you should see it show up in this little drop down. So RTL SDR/USB is the dongle that I'm going to be using. And then you can hit configure and you can make sure that all of this is set to what it is on my computer screen. Down here on RF gain, you can pull it up or down, and I'll show you in just a second what that does. So let's close this. And let's go ahead and start hitting play. Now, just warning you beforehand, it might get a little loud, so turn down your speakers if you're listening to me really, really high volume. So 3, 2, 1, you ready? Let's hit play. Okay, so like I said, lots of static. You can hear tons of static going on. If I turn down AF gain, it gets very quiet, but then I won't be able to hear the voices in the background, the music in the background. So I'm going to keep this right about here for now. And if I scroll up, so I'm going to stick on WFM right now. So I can see a lot of peaks going on over here, a lot of the wave frequencies. So you can see where different FM channels are, and you can listen in on those if you just hold down on the mouse and scroll back and forth. Okay, so I found a radio station, super easy. So I can listen to it pretty clearly. If I want to mess with a little bit of my own bandwidth, I can turn this down. It might get a little clearer, it might get a little more crisp for you to listen to. In this case, it gets a little foggy, so I'll open up the bandwidth a bit more. So I'm getting pretty much the full channel down here. Now, I'm going to scroll back the other way. Here's one that's a lot louder. Let's go over to this one. So in this case, so this is interesting. On this one, we have the center bandwidth going on, which is the music or the talking, the news channel, whatever that station is. And then on the outside, on both of the sides, we have some kind of data going on. So in this case, what you'll see up at the top, above all the blue wavelengths, is the name of the radio station. So it's KFOX 4771, and then the radio station actual channel 102.1. and 98.5 KFOX. So when a song is playing, this is pretty cool, it'll actually show you the name of the song. So that's pretty awesome. I like that. Now, if you find that most of the things down at the bottom are in red, you can lower the contrast. This will give you a little bit more contrast. It'll be a little bit easier to find whatever stations you want to listen to. And up at the top, I can also zoom in a little bit closer. So you'll notice in this case, I'm not exactly center on it. The center is right about here. So if I can't click on that, what I can do is go to configure and change my frequency correction. So these things, they're mass produced. So you're going to find, some of these might not have the best frequency on them, but you can change those by going into the software and choosing frequency correction. So I'm going to correct my frequency by, I'll do -5. And that'll move it over just a little bit. Yeah, we don't care about you, AT&T. So after a few seconds, you'll notice that it'll move over a little bit closer to the center of the block of the bandwidth. Now I'm going to zoom back out, and let's go ahead and choose something else. I found some pretty interesting stations that I can listen in on the NFM radio station. So again, this is where you find, your weather station for boats and captains and whatnot. So I'm going to click NFM. You'll notice that it totally screws up what I was listening to on the radio station. And I wrote down a couple of stations I wanted to check out with you guys today. And these were up in the 163 range, so 160 range. So I'm going to go up here and change this to 75, change that to 3, and 163. So, okay, so we got that set. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see what happens when I do this. Bring that up just a little. Okay, so you can't hear anything just yet, but you will in just a few seconds. This one's pretty interesting. It's no music, no talking or whatever, but you hear some data. So you might wonder, what the heck is that? Oh, it's aliens, of course, obviously. Well, it might be a buoy sending out some kind of signal about the waves that are increasing or decreasing in height, or it might be a weather balloon or something like that. So you don't really know exactly what it is, but there are ways to process that information in the future. I'm hoping that I can figure that out soon enough. Let's see, I'll also check out, let's do another one. Let's do 161.687. So I'll start on the lower end. Okay. 167. And that's 1. There we go. Oops, sorry. 687. 6, 8. Wow, I can't read today. Okay, so this is really staticky. Zoom in a little bit. So changing my bandwidth will help me listen to this a little bit clearer. It's hard to make out, but they're basically giving you the weather patterns and different information about the waves on a certain harbor, which is kind of cool, especially if you're, hanging out very close to there. You can listen to what's going on in different parts of your neighborhood. It's really awesome. I just love listening to this stuff. I could totally geek out all day. Let's see. I will turn down the volume on this one a little bit so we can get that out of the way. Let's try 162.387.5. Okay, so this one's talking about a forecast in the South Bay. That's so cool. I love it. Oh, it's awesome. That's so cool. All right, so that's pretty interesting, right? You would think that if you're listening to like a FM radio station, or whether it's NFM or FM or AM, there are certain wavelengths that you're going to find each of these on. So you're not going to see a whole bunch of FM radio stations, or if you're down in the 20s, or if you're up in the 200s or something like that. This is kind of cool. So I was looking around, I was scrolling through a whole bunch of different frequencies, and I found this one that I can share with you. This is 126.800, so I'm going to change the station. Okay, 26.800. Doesn't sound like much. Let's go ahead and zoom out here. And I'm going to configure this, add a little bit of gain. Okay, it doesn't look like anything's going on yet. Subtract that frequency correction. And I'm going to change over to... Oh, I guess it disappeared. Where did it go? Interesting. So there was music on this frequency earlier today. It was so cool. I was listening to music on 26.8 or whatever that was. It was kind of weird. You wouldn't think you'd find FM music on that channel, but somebody was transmitting something. It was kind of cool. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this down, but you can see how if you have a day off work, you could just sit here and listen to, WFM stations for the entire day trying to pick out different things. And there's so many different places. I swear, I heard a dog barking on one of these stations, and I was like, what's going on? So it's really cool to listen to. It's so interesting, and I can't wait to find more stations like this. I mean, heck, Darren found one that can show you flight patterns, and you can actually see where planes are coming over you, and then you can actually see their different heights that they are at. It's so cool. Anyway, I'm gonna geek out way too much about this if I continue. So let me know if you use any SDR applications on your own computers. This is just one for Windows, but there's plenty more for Windows and Linux as well. And I'm thinking I need to check out more of them because I think I just found something that I really enjoy. So, coming up soon, we'll check out more awesomeness. But first, let's go ahead and take a break.
It doesn't matter whether you're a SYN, an ACK, or a SYN ACK. When you have that killer idea, you need to snag a domain name and the web hosting fast. And with Domain.com's quick domain discovery system and their easy checkout process, you're going to be live with your website in no time. I mean, I love Domain.com because they're affordable, they're reliable, they're easy to use, plus Domain.com's awesome active social media presence. I mean, it really just makes it a fun place to do business. We've been doing business with them for so long. The guys over at Domain.com are huge fans of Hak5, and they want to hook you up. So get this, use the coupon code HAK5 at checkout to get an extra 15% off. When you think domain names, think Domain.com.
And now it's time for the trivia question of the week. Now first, last week's trivia question was, what is the oldest known analog computer in the world? And the answer was, and I'll probably pronounce this wrong, Antikythera mechanism. This week's question is, the USB and USB cable stands for what? And that is a very easy one. Now answer that over at hak5.org/trivia for your chance to win some awesome Hak5 goodies.
So Johnny, it's Shmoocon, Hackers for Charity, in full force as usual. Of course, I can't get away from Shmoocon without hearing the latest from you on what's new with Hackers for Charity.
Yeah, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming by and all your support. One of the big things that we're really talking about this year is kind of our education initiative. For the longest time, you guys know I've been working in Africa and trying a bunch of different programs, and one thing that we realized from the beginning was how important it was to give educational opportunities to folks in Uganda.
You're doing that with the cafe, right?
Yeah, so the training, like our training center, for example, is still in action. You know, we're still doing computer training courses, things like that. But that's only 24 machines. You know, we bring people in, we do as much training as we can, but there's a lot more people that could benefit from the training.
So you're taking the hacker approach and you're like, hey, if we do this once, let's do a parallelized operation, right?
That's it. And so basically what we thought is, well, if we can put the tools in the hands of educators that are kind of already all over the country, you know, we can get this stuff in a lot more hands. You know, get a lot more students as well.
So how do we put the information, what is the information, and how do we get it in their hands?
So there's kind of a core group of software. The biggest is Khan Academy. Everybody knows about Khan Academy and, you know, how it's got these great videos and, you know, this YouTube stuff and all that. Well, the bandwidth over there isn't going to support that. So we started with a core of Khan Academy with the folks at Rachel that made an offline version of it. We've also got Wikipedia and CK12 and Project Gutenberg and all sorts of educational materials as a software core. And the issue became, well, how do we put it in the hands of people that might not have internet connectivity, and how can we put it in a ruggedized package that doesn't require a lot of power? And that's where the Pelican Pi comes in. And Sam was the one that kind of put that together.
All right, Sam, can you walk me through the Pelican Pi?
Sure, no problem. The Pelican is based upon a Pelican case. It's 1120 case. The root of it is a Raspberry Pi, and the Raspberry Pi is the B model. It runs the 64 gig card that's hosting all the content that Johnny talked about. Within that, it runs an Apache server, an Nginx server, and an access point. So the students themselves or the teachers can access the data by accessing the access point, and we control all the content. So on the device, we have power that comes in through a Adafruit solar charge controller. It has the ability to take solar power in, our 110, 220 mains power, or run from the battery. We have a 26 amp hour battery that lasts for about 28 to 30 hours. So from the power, it goes to a voltage regulator that increases the voltage up to 5.4 volts roughly. From there, it goes to an ATX Raspberry made by Low Power Labs. And those guys did a really good job of, one gentleman actually did a really good job of building a device that provides power to the Raspberry Pi, but also provides the ability to use a button and send a proper shutdown script. One of the problems we came across was that the Raspberry Pi has a low voltage, low power USB port, so we had to have a higher power going to it, plus we had to have a stable voltage going to it. That was caused some of our issues. So the ATX Raspberry, if you push the button and hold it for 4 seconds, it'll actually send a shutdown script. The Raspberry Pi will shut down, And what we found was that the Raspberry Pi doesn't completely shut down. It enters a low power state and still draws 100 milliamps. So that device will recognize that and then completely shut the power, cutting off the battery, which keeps a longer battery life on it. From there, it goes to the Raspberry Pi, and that's pretty much the guts and the glory of it all.
And so this requires internet, doesn't require internet. How do you deploy it?
We have just started with experimenting with 2 versions. So what we found was, yes, the original version was a completely offline content provider. Ka Lite was the basis for that, and so it uses all the Khan Academy videos and provides a mechanism to track students, for teachers to track those students, and then for administrative staffs, if this does get plugged in, it'll sync up, and administrative staff can monitor a whole bunch of different schools, remote schools, as they log in every once in a while. Other than that, they don't have to connect at all. They can host all the content locally. We also recognize that there's a need for, because of the popularity of 3G, to have a way to do low power or low bandwidth type connections. So it would be an online connection, and we'd utilize the power of the Khan Academy developers. With all their money and backing, they're constantly updating and providing some really cool aspects and training capability to students. And so we want to enable that. So when we were doing the research and Johnny was experimenting out there, most of the bandwidth is sucked up in the videos. We already host the videos, so if we can redirect just the video portion, now we have a really cool way to host both offline, completely offline content, or a partially online, like a low bandwidth version of it.
So what is the end? What is the end user experience here, and how are you getting it into the hands of these students?
Yeah, so basically, this is it's a wireless web server, with a battery, and it's ruggedized and all that. Obviously, you need clients. So you can use any kind of smartphone, any existing computers that they might have. We can plug in Ethernet. We can have a hub, so even old computers with any kind of web browser really can get access to the basic content. What we recommend, though, is the Chromebook. And we use an Acer C7, which is about a $200 entry-level Chromebook, as the client. Some really cool things about it. You don't have to worry about viruses. It's obviously a problem when you deploy a laptop. You don't have to worry about configuration changes. The students using it, we use it in guest mode. So when they log out, all that stuff goes away. The students can't mess it up. And it's also got a modern web browser. It's got it's Chrome OS with a Chrome web browser. So it's the perfect platform. And at $200, we can also add an SD card for $25 and load all that content locally onto the laptop. So you have the ability to use the laptop on its own, but you can also connect to the Pi and get dynamic content like Sam was talking about with the tracking and all of that.
And there's a benefit. There's actually a double benefit there, because you have the ability to host a server with multiple clients connected to it with the Pelican Pi that we have. But if you wanted to do a one-off, or if you had an orphanage that only needed 2 computers, it's not quite the best solution to bring in a whole server to support that. So it might be better just to host it locally on that device itself, which is what he's referring to.
That's cool. What has the reception been with the powers that be?
Well, it's been very interesting. In the past couple months, the reception has been pretty dramatic. One of our colleagues is moving around with one of these things all over East Africa and showing them to various government officials. 2 days into his tour around East Africa, the Rwandese Minister of Education was like, "Give me 100 of these." So we realize that there's potential, that there's interest in this thing, but at the same time, we realize this is grassroots, it's prototype, it's very maker-ish. We might not be able to scale this thing to the level that people are asking for it. So we're kind of looking. We had some great conversations with you about what you learned when you were doing the pineapple, and the things that you learned kind of paved the way for us, and we're kind of going, well, we might be able to follow in your footsteps, partner with you guys a little bit, learn from what you did, and maybe make something that's more, marketable from a product standpoint. Yeah.
It needs to be compact, it needs to be rugged, it needs to be something that we can put in the field and is not as expensive to repair or replace. It needs to be easy for the end user, because we're not going to be in all these locations, and we have to have the ability to send something to somebody, have them put it into practice, and have it last.
Well, I absolutely agree. Any way we can help, it's a noble goal. And how can our viewers, how can the hackers of the world get together and help out Hackers for Charity?
So all of this information is on our website, hackersforcharity.org/education. We have all the build diagrams. The parts list is on there. You can order all of these parts and build your own, and play around with this thing, or donate it to a school. There's lots of options there. But the biggest thing is to kind of keep up with that page as this thing evolves, and as always, just getting the word out makes a huge difference. So we really appreciate the chance to talk to you guys, and your support through the years has just been great.
Yeah, thanks,
so much,
Darren.
Sam. Thanks, Johnny.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
And now it is time for the Technolist photo of the week, and this one is from Mr. Jason. He sent us a photo of his evil home server, and he said it's evil because he runs Myth TV and randomly decides to not record Family Guy. That's definitely evil, and it randomly deletes his kids' Pokio episodes. Yeah, not cool. I'm sure the kids were upset about that. Thank you, Jason, for sending in that photo. It looks very similar to our own evil server. You can send your photos if you want to feedback@hak5.org. Definitely send them in. We haven't had many lately. I want to see what you guys are doing out there. And add the subject line Technolist so that we can find them really easily, because we get a lot of emails. Not necessarily pictures, though. So send me pictures.
Well, that just about wraps up this week's episode of Hak5, but Shannon, I must say, you opened Pandora's box. You have no idea. I can't
love
tell
this.
you
It's so
how
cool.
I haven't seen her as excited as she is right now since she discovered Netcat or Bash
Or 3D printing.
or 3D or
That's
that
always
too.
fun, too.
Yes.
No, this is so cool. I'm having so much fun with this. And can I show you something?
Yes, hit me. What you got?
Oh, my God. Okay, so watch this.
Okay, Paul, pull
so
it up.
I'm taking off my microphone, but I'm not turning it off. I'm going to set it a little bit closer to the antenna. Look at this. Now watch this.
Whoa.
Check that out.
Is that us coming back?
That's us.
That's awesome. So you could basically stand outside the Hak5 studio and that's so weird.
Isn't that freaky?
That is super freaky.
It's so weird. I was just browsing and I was like, wait, do I hear an echo? Wait, what is that? Oh, that's me. And then he freaks out and he's like, oh, there's a bug.
Of course. I must say, I went down this road last year with Mike Osmond's class, who Mike Osmond does the Ubertooth and the HackRF, does a fantastic class on that kind of stuff. I'm going to have to give you all my notes from that. It's awesome that you're finally getting around to that, because I've been meaning to for quite a while and haven't. But I will say you've opened Pandora's box in the flood of emails that you're about to get on any bit of terminology that you've messed up. But it's cool. It's cool. I'm loving to watch you dive into this and learn.
Yeah, it's so fun.
I think it's apt that Shannon Morse is getting into this stuff. Next thing you know, she'll be doing CW.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Lols.
Yay.
Nice one.
Yes.
Let's see what you did there.
Ha ha ha.
Oh, so I'm starting a new show. I should mention that.
You're starting a new show?
It's cool and it's fun.
Oh,
yeah.
what?
It's called
Okay.
Coding 101.
Hey, you love coding.
Yeah. twit.tv/code, maybe, I think. I don't know.
Cool.
I don't know what the website is. But there's a promo up on the website.
What are you
so
learning? Are you going to
basically-
start with some Python?
Yeah, we're going to learn Python, C#, C++, Java, Ruby. We're going to delve into all sorts of different ones over the course of the show so that everybody gets, something that they enjoy. It's not just one code, one programming language.
Spiffy.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to
Yay.
learn some things.
Cool. Tune in.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to remind you that we value your feedback. So if you would like to let Shannon know all sorts of awesome open source utilities she should be using with her RTL SDR, go ahead and hit up feedback@hak5.org. I'll be there too, because I'm playing with ADSB right now, and it's like, whoa.
And I'm playing with Ninja Stars.
There we go. There's that too.
Oh, it doesn't work that well
No, it doesn't.
when you put it that way.
You should. She's rough
Also,
on toys.
check out hakshop.com. That's where you can support us directly, and we thank you so much for supporting us like that. We appreciate everything
Yes.
that you guys do.
And that's supporting other fun shows like Metasploit Minute. I know you've got some hack tips coming up. It's good stuff. So thank you for keeping us on the airwaves, as
So
it were.
exciting.
See what I did there?
Ha,
On the
lols. Oh,
man.
you're so
We're
funny.
going to be broadcasting
Oh,
ATSC
goodness.
soon.
Yeah.
But not
We
really.
goof around way too much.
Hack5.org/follow is where you can find us on social media and let us know that we banter too much before and after the show.
We do.
Yes.
Sorry.
and
This is what happens when you.
This is what
things.
happens when we haven't been in studio since Shmoocon, CES,
Yeah.
Christmas.
It's been a while.
It's been, yes. So, with
I
all of
forgot
that,
how to do the show.
we are reminding you that
I'm
she's
Shannon
Shannon Morse. Code.
He's Darren Kitchen.
Well, trust your technolust.
Bye. Dongles.
So you'll want to know.